If you work in Qatar, you now have the legal right to quit your job and move to a new company at any time without asking your employer for permission. This officially dismantles the historical kafala system. The government has effectively eliminated the No Objection Certificate, or NOC, meaning the legal requirement to be bound to a single sponsor against your will no longer applies. But possessing that legal right and actually executing a job transfer are two entirely different things. The system is filled with strict procedural requirements. If you step outside the official framework, even accidentally, you lose your protections. A misstep can quickly lead to a loss of residency status and immediate deportation. To successfully upgrade your career here without risking your livelihood, you have to understand the exact mechanics of how this legal machinery operates. Every single job transfer in Qatar now runs through one centralized hub, the Ministry of Labor's electronic system. You cannot initiate a move with a handshake or a paper letter. The process officially begins when you log into that system and submit a transfer request letter. Pressing submit on that digital form is the exact moment your mandatory legal notice period begins. Your notice period depends on your tenure. If you've been with your employer for 2 years or less, you serve a 1-month notice. If you've crossed the 2-year mark, that requirement doubles to a full 2-month notice period. There is one notable exception built into this law. Employers are permitted to classify up to 5% of their workforce as critical staff. If you fall into that specific category, your employer retains the right to require their pre-approval before you can exit the company. The electronic portal forces employers to continue paying your wages during the transition, but if you miscalculate your required days or try to bypass the digital system, you forfeit those protections. One of the most dangerous myths circulating in the expat community is buying a free visa to gain ultimate mobility between jobs. The reality is, free visas do not exist in Qatar's legal code. They are an illegal visa trade. The only valid framework is the company visa, where your sponsoring company maintains a direct, unbroken link to the Ministry of Labor. When you do transfer legally, the law strictly regulates the costs. Your new employer is required to pay a 60 rial administrative fee to authenticate your newly signed employment contract. It is a punishable offense for any company to force the worker to cover that administrative cost or to deduct recruitment fees from your salary. Workers who don't know the exact breakdown of these financial liabilities often find themselves paying out of pocket for their own exploitation. By removing the requirement for an employer's permission to leave, Qatar has turned its labor environment into a competitive marketplace. Because workers can take their skills elsewhere, companies are now forced to actively compete on salary, workplace culture, and living conditions to keep their staff from walking out the door. The Wage Protection System, or WPS, acts as the auditor here, tracking bank transfers to ensure companies are fully delivering on the terms they promised in those competitive new contracts. You hold a level of legal leverage in Qatar today that simply did not exist a few years ago. But you can only use that leverage if you operate strictly within the transparent digital boundaries set by the ministry. Navigating this system can still be highly complex, depending on your specific contract. Drop a comment below and tell us what challenges you're facing right now with your transfer request or NOC status, and we'll see you in the next video.